Yo, 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 it's Tim Young in the building. Won't you tell me how you feeling? I hope you feeling good. Had a little technical difficulties. Definitely apologize for that. But we are here. We are here. We are ready to go. We're ready to go. We're ready to go. I hope y'all ready because I'm ready. Oh, I'm back. Look, I'm back. Okay, so look, I hope y'all feeling good because I'm feeling great. Um, Man, yo, we finna get right into it. I got some pretty cool stuff today. Um, I was doing some preparation that kind of caused it to be a little delayed, and then I ran into some technical difficulties. You know what I'm saying? We ain't got no music playing today, but you know what I'm saying? It's all good. I just want to make sure y'all hearing me okay. Um, um, and as you'll see that title. You know what I'm saying? Call of Duty. Call of Duty. It taught me uh it taught me this about loyalty, right? And we're gonna get into that, and we're gonna understand what that is and everything of that nature. And we're just gonna be on about our business, man. I hope y'all feeling good. I'm feeling great. I just kind of want to minimize some screens. I want to invite people on. Where's my telephone? I don't even know where my phone is. Um, yeah, really, I have no clue of where my telephone is. Oh, it's right in front of me. Um. Okay. Yeah. So we here. We here. We ready to rock. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get on. We weren't able to get on Instagram because Instagram is having some technical issues. They're having some issues with their they're having some issues with their uh yeah, they're having some issues with their third party subscribers and things of that nature. So, yeah, yeah. Let's see what's to it. Let me see here real quick. I just want to make a quick adjustment. Um, I think that will be key because I need you all to understand Call of Duty taught me something. And I just want to open it up to y'all, man. This is Share Faith Wednesday. What is Share Faith Wednesday? Share Faith Wednesday. What is Pop Gospel Speaks? Pop Gospel Speaks is stylistically unrestricted content with a vertical source and a horizontal reach. Hey, you know what's funny, Joe? Like, people say, I'm seeing people say it's Diddy. People say I look like Diddy. And that's hilarious to me, but you know what I'm saying? It's all good, you feel me? But I'm a God fearing man. You know what I'm saying? I might look like him, but I'm gonna show y'all how to be as successful, as great as that man was, and we're gonna show y'all what the kingdom look like on this side of town, man. Cause it's really up from here, man. It's really up from here, man. I hope y'all feeling good. I hope y'all feeling great. And I'm just gonna kind of like get into it for real. Hit that share button, hit that like, comment, subscribe, and all of that, and let's get into it, yo. When it's all said and done, man, some of y'all are losing life. Some of y'all losing life because you keep stepping into battle without your scope, right? Without your grip, without your muzzle, and it shows. You know what I'm saying? Like it really shows, and I'm guilty of that. You know what I'm saying? Because I had a conversation with my son Isaiah, my oldest, and it wrecked me in a good way. We weren't talking deep. We was talking about Call of Duty. You know what I'm saying? And what happened was there was a revelation that allowed me to understand self control, right? It allowed me to understand spiritual stability, right? The things I fight with, the things we aim for. You feel me? The things we keep missing because of our unawareness of our current level of recoil, right? How to use it successfully, and what attachments we need to decrease the recoil, right? Anybody play Call of Duty out here? I got any Call of Duty fans, you know what I'm saying, that kind of understand what I'm talking about. I hope you rock with me because when it's all said and done, we gonna get into it, and we gonna talk about this, and I'm gonna find a way to make it all make sense in a way that we really never really thought about, right? So here's my expectation, right? From this live, here's what you're going to see. You're going to see how emotional recoil, spiritual stability, and broken friendships all connect. You feel me? You're going to see how that connects. And then we'll walk away with the language to understand your triggers, your friendships, and your faith. All right? Y'all with that? Y'all cool with that? So let's get into it. Let's get into it, right? So check it out, right? So watch this, right? Let's talk about recoil. So when we talk about recoil, we have to begin to understand what it is, right? What you need to master it, right? And then we're going to cover relationship, why they fail without contracts, attachments, the real tools for real life, spiritual stability, and we're going to get into it with the comparisons to Call of Duty, right? So check it out, right? When it's all said and done, I need you to understand this. I need you to understand this. Listen, you are the weapon. You are the weapon. Self-awareness is your first attachment. Okay? Self-awareness is your first attachment, right? You ever been in a moment where you've been trying to stay calm, right? But you keep firing off emotionally, right? That's that recoil, and that's what real life recoil looks like. So watch this, check it out. So I got this little toy gun for my kids, you feel me? And I wanted to kind of get into what I've experienced with recoil. I had the opportunity to actually fire off a real gun, right? And the crazy part about it is it was a pistol and it had a scope on it, right? And the scope had like a red dot. And like when I was trying to shoot the gun, it was very difficult to see the red dot every time. It was difficult to see the red dot every time. And as I was aiming down, I was really focusing on trying to find the dot on the target, and then once I found the dot on the target, I had to pull the trigger. And this gun has, these guns are built to like not move so much, but this pistol it was boom, boom, boom. You know what I'm saying? It was boom, boom. It was doing all of that like really, really fast, and it was adjusting how I kept my aim down. It was adjusting how I stayed focused and you know what I'm saying, everything I was doing. So I was like, man, that's a challenge when it comes to, you know what I'm saying, remaining focused on your target. So if we were to compare that, what comes to my mind is emotional stability, right? What comes to my mind is what's your kickback when you find yourself in situations where you're in it to win it, and there's kickback. What does that look like? What does that feel like? What, you know what I'm saying? What happens when pressure hits? You know what I'm saying? The kickback is when the pressure hits. The kickback is when you go off on your spouse or your kids, right? The kickback is that moment where what you intend to say gets lost because you got lost in the moment. You know what I'm saying? You got lost in the moment. So as I was talking to my son Isaiah, we were going through understanding recoil and understanding how recoil works, because I asked him, I was like, how often are you, or do you pay attention to the attachments that you have on the gun, right? And he was like, yeah, I do. I was like, well, unfortunately, I don't. I'm older. He's younger. I'm 36. He's 9. And then I got kids in between me, like my nephews and stuff like that play the game. And what I discovered is I get prideful, and I don't be willing to learn or adjust to the growth of the game. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I can't catch up. And this is just an honest, open, transparent moment. I stopped playing 2K because of that, man. My nephews was cooking me in that game. So I'm like, man, look, y'all can have this, man. I'm done with it. You know what I'm saying? Because I just wasn't willing to take the time to learn the strategies behind perfecting the craft of 2K. You know what I'm saying? Like everything is different in 2K. Like it ain't the same situation no more. So I was like, you know what, y'all can have this. But I decided to not take that same approach with Call of Duty. So, I started humbling myself, and I got tired of playing the game and losing, right? I got tired of getting beat to the shot. So what I began to do was I began to do research and find out, okay, so what does this gun do? What does that gun do? How does that work? You know what I'm saying? What's the best way to successfully utilize these attachments, and then get into gameplay and XYZ and XYZ. And once we discovered that recoil is stability, I began to ask them, how do we put this in real life? How do we put certain situations in real life where we are finding the attachments that decrease, not increase, but decrease our recoil? So once again, recoil is the kickback, the kicking back of the gun. That allows the gun to allows you to fire the gun again. So it has to be quick enough to allow you to shoot it again. So the tough part about that is if you got a gun that got a lot of firepower, the recoil is going to be weaker, right? The kickback is going to be more aggressive. The kickback is going to be more aggressive, and it's going to be hard to stay on target because of, you know what I'm saying, that kickback, right? Think about like a what do they call it? Like a large machine gun, right? Like a large machine gun. It's got a lot of bullets, got a lot of, you know, firepower, and it's boom, 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 boom. So the question becomes, how do we put ourselves in a situation where we're operating in accuracy with this level of instability, right? Because there is a form of stability in that, but how do we obtain that? How do we reach that goal, right? So when I was talking to him, we brought up a real life situation with him and his brother Cody, right? Cody's 4. And the question became like, what do you do when you find yourself in situations where he's working you, he's taking you to the next level, and he got you all worked up and so forth and so on, and how do you do it? So what he said was, initially he was like, I'll walk away, I'll close my eyes, and I'll turn around. But my question became like, what happens if that don't work? What happens if you can't turn around? What happens scenario if y'all older and y'all driving? You can't walk away from the car. You can't close your eyes. You can't turn around. What happens then? Like, what do you do? And then what happened after that was game changing. Bro say, I take a breath. I'll ask, is this worth getting mad over? Now that is recoil. That's recoil control. That man just added an attachment to his emotional gun, right? And began to create the stabilization needed to handle the situation, right? That's spiritual maturity being developed in a 9-year-old, fam, right? Sometimes kids have the attachments we still haven't equipped ourselves as adults. You know what I'm saying? So like, when it comes to the actual game, I wanted to have the game up. I was trying to get the game on the screen, but I'll work that out. I'll figure out how to do that. But I definitely wanted to have the game up on the screen so y'all can see it. But when it comes to Call of Duty, right? Kickback from the gun, right? No grip, right? When you have no grip, right? This would be the grip part of the gun. When there is no grip, the gun is jumping all over the place, right? When there is no optic, right? When there is no optic, there's actually no optic on this gun. But watch this. On this gun, I got another toy. On this big fella, you feel me? There, you see that? There is an optic. Right? There is an optic, but when there is no optic, you can't focus or lock into your target, right? When there is no underbarrel, right? The underbarrel of the gun is literally this part, right? When there's no underbarrel, right? You lose precision under pressure, because think about it. As you're shooting the gun, gun is going back and forth. That recoil is in full action, and it's happening. Not just mental pressure, but physical pressure of the gun. The strength that you have to have, you are losing the ability to have that type of pressure, right? That's the lack. That's the kickback from the gun. That is indeed the recoil, right? Now watch this. Like, when it comes to, this is a Kingdom podcast. This is not podcast, but broadcast. But this is Share Faith Wednesday, right? There's scripture that backs this up, right? Psalms 46:10 says, "Be still and know that I am God." Stillness is your grip, right? Self-awareness is your optic, right? And emotional regulation is your underbarrel. You feel me? So you don't need to pray for peace. You just need to equip yourself for it. You don't need to pray for peace. You just need to equip yourself for it. You don't need to ask God to fix it. You need to ask him to train your hands for war. That's fire. You don't need to ask God to fix it. You just need to ask him to train your hands for war. Now, I know I got some people on, you know what I'm saying, and I would love to get some kickback from you all. And you know what I'm saying, we got the haters, you know what I'm saying, we got those people, but it's all good, you know, it's all love, man. I bless, I hope you're blessed, you know what I'm saying, whoever you are. And I believe that this will do something for you, right? So what would be your emotional recoil level right now, right? Is it 1 being super unstable, or all the way up to 5 being super stable, right? When pressure hits, what comes out of you, right? When pressure hit, what comes out of you? Like what are you doing, yo? Give me some kickback on these comments. Let me know how y'all feeling, right? Have you ever equipped yourself with the attachments you need? When you find yourself in situations where the live ain't popping right and you decide to stay on and do whatever you do, or you feel me and say whatever you're saying, are you equipped in the right space, right? Are you understanding the type of situation this is, the type of atmosphere this is in, and are you how are you firing off? You know what I'm saying? What kind of light or darkness are you shining in the space? You feel me? Those are key questions to think about. I would love to hear from y'all, man. Let me know what y'all thinking. Let me know what's going on. Once again, what's your emotional recoil level, right? That kickback. You feel me? When it's kicking back, what's causing that kickback, right? And that's from 1 to 5. And then when pressure hits, what comes out? For me, when pressure hit, what comes out, especially when it comes to my son, man. Like my 9-year-old son, I do seem to be, well, I come off as I'm harder on him than I am on my younger one, and it's only because he understands at a certain level, at a better level than my younger one does. It's because he's been on this earth for 9 years, and I've been talking to him with spiritual concepts, different situations, and things of that nature. And I've been striving to make sure that I'm talking to him, not at him. Right? I'm striving to find ways to connect biblical principles in situations that he's supposed to tap into. But once again, when my recoil level is super unstable and I'm watching emotional outbreaks of instability, right, where the gun is just firing all over the place, and I'm seeing that in real time, I do find myself in situations where, unfortunately, I match that energy with my power. I match that energy with the, and I'm going to talk about this, but I match the energy with the type of dynamic that I have with him, and the fact that I do have control as the father. And I come down too aggressive. You feel me? So I don't have the right attachments in that situation. Yeah. That's facts. That's facts, man. And this is another point, right? Check it out. A lot of people are bitter because y'all never had a friendship contract, right? But now you're acting like somebody violated it, right? A lot of people are acting like a lot of people are bitter because you never had a friendship contract, but now you're acting like you violated one, right? You thought you was just cool. They thought y'all was bonded for life, and now there's friction. Not because of betrayal, but out of a misunderstanding. Let's get into it, right? Here's what I've learned over the years. Why certain relationships fail or get stale, right? Unfortunately, we have relationships that are inherited, right? Same school, same church, same trauma, same bloodline, right? Same school. Man, y'all met in third period. You feel me? And y'all been rocking ever since. But unfortunately, school ended, so the relationship did too. You feel me? Same church, right? Y'all was connected to the system, by the system that the church is operating in, not the spirit. You shared a pew, not on purpose. You feel me? Like, oh, this is my sitting buddy. This is who I come sit next to at church. But where's the purpose at? Where's the alignment? Where's the purpose at? You know what I'm saying? Same trauma, right? You bonded over pain, but when healing starts, sometimes the bond breaks, right? When you all have become people, right? Homies, because of, you know, man, Joe, man, heartbreak or whatever the case may be, and now you are ready to become you're ready to stop allowing your pain to dictate your character, dictate who you are, to change your identity, and that person over there is still ready for that. Now we got a problem on our hands. You feel me? Now we got a problem on our hands because you don't want to be identified by your pain no more, because your pain is not who you are. Rightfully so. But they still want that. So now the relationship has become a problem, right? Same bloodline. Just because you're my brother or sister doesn't mean you're entitled to my peace. If we weren't family, I wouldn't be tolerating that type of behavior. I'm talking from experience. I'm talking from experience being the person delivering it. I'm talking from experience being the person receiving it. I'm talking from experience being the person that actually observed it. I don't know if you've been in any situations like I've been in or have witnessed, but there's this invisible or silent code that I'm supposed to take from you just because we are connected by blood. I don't know how I feel about that. And that's something that I've been working on for a very long time, because I have really begun to understand the dynamic of family, and as a believer. So if I'm a believer, that means I'm connected to a kingdom family. So I've been working on, once again, the practicalities of what my family is, and then what the practicalities of what a kingdom family looks like and what that means. What are the characteristics of both? And is this aligning with this one? And if this one ain't aligning with this one, we got to make some adjustments, because I have experienced a great deal. Once again, I've witnessed, I've experienced it, I've dished it out, where you can keep coming back, and you're going to keep coming back. Honest, open, and transparent moment. I found myself in situations where I would do certain things in my marriage because I knew my wife would come back. Or she's shown the level of grace that God tells us to show. So I got a little bit more room to keep on acting a fool, or doing this or doing that. You know what I'm saying? Like, or I'm the brother, or I'm the big brother, or I'm the little brother, right? And I'm treating you a certain way because the dynamic says you're supposed to handle it, or you gonna take it. Or I can say things to you that hurt you, and you just got to deal with it, because that's just who we are, and that's just what we do. I am tired of that. And I've been tired of it, and it has to end. You feel me? It has to end, right? So what I got from that is sometimes the inheritance becomes the hindrance, unfortunately. It actually becomes the hindrance. And then you have like a frequency test, right? This is what I'm calling it, right? Would I still kick it with you if we didn't have history? And I said that earlier, right? Like you find yourself in these situations where stuff is just like, man, I guess. I guess I'm supposed to take that. And then it just continues this unfortunate epidemic of identity crisis. Watch this, right? Peep this, right? Unfortunately, our children are getting the wrong idea of friendship. Unfortunately, they're getting the wrong idea of friendship. What do I mean? So, that child on that end understands what friends are per his experience. And your child on your end understands what friendship is per his experience. So, because nobody actually had a conversation about what friends are, and understand that that is a continual conversation, understanding that that's something that happens on a regular basis and it is supposed to change. Because you didn't do that, what happens is that child experiences something that they don't actually resonate with, that they didn't actually enjoy, and they're hurt by it, but the return response or whatever the case may be is, you cool, you my homie, man, it's all good. Also, I'm supposed to endure that. So what happens is it becomes a legacy builder. So now you begin to do those things to your new friends, or you begin to do those things to your younger siblings or cousins or whatever the case may be. And that becomes the natural thing to do. But unfortunately, it's about understanding our dynamic, understanding what we need to do to make sure we have a unified front in all things friendship, right? Now watch this. I personally believe that this is the reason why marriage gets such a bad rep, because marriage is the first place where we're asked to commit out loud, you know what I'm saying, with vows, not vibes. You feel me? Because when it's all said and done, right? Yeah, can you be my boyfriend? Can you be my girlfriend? Yeah, that happens. But this one is a little bit deeper. This one goes all the way to the core of things. So much so to the point where not only are they asking you, you know what I'm saying, for better or for worse, for richer or poor, you know what I'm saying, do you lawfully take this person to be your XYZ, but even documents are signed. Even documents are signed, man. And the crazy part about it is, you don't know what's going to happen on the other side of you signing that document. You don't know what's going to happen on the other side of you saying I do. But in the moment, the love is so real. The love is so deep that you like, yo, I'm with you. I'm with it forever. Let's go. Unfortunately, because we haven't created those understandings, or we don't have the proper communication skills, we find ourselves in statistics where marriages are failing at a high rate, because we don't understand relationships. So at this point, it's easier just not to get married and just have uncommitted relationships, right? So what would happen if we decided to have that level of loyalty with a friend, right? And I ain't just talking about, platonics, your guys' friends or the girlfriends, but just people in general. Like, you know what I'm saying? We homies, we boys, right? I know how excuse me. I know how the relationship was inherited, right? I know how our relationship bond happened, but let's begin to decipher and decide what that thing is. Let's begin to talk about that. Let's begin to understand how to actually build that up, right? Because on Call of Duty, right, the attachments that work in one season may not work in the next. Right? The attachments that may work in one map may not work for next, right? You might need to change your scope, right? So like this scope right here. Yo! Let me go to this screen. This scope, right? You see this scope, right? This scope, this gun, this gun is larger than this gun, right? So the usage is different. The usage is different. There isn't a scope on this, but there's a scope on this. So everything is different. Everything changes. So when you find yourself in a different battlefield, when you find yourself in another map, and the map has different layouts or whatever the case may be, depending on the type of guns you have that opportunity to adjust, right? Like, and I ain't talking about playing to the people, but playing your game, right? Because this is a real thing too, because I find myself in situations where I start playing bad and I make adjustments based upon how people are playing against me, but I'm not thinking about what I have. And I'm not making sure that I'm utilizing my attachments on the customization that I have put on my gun properly. Excuse me. to successfully play the game, right? Excuse me. Relationships have to adjust as people grow. If you don't evolve, you erode. If you don't evolve, you erode, right? You become the cottage cheese that is turned into mold, right? You become the gray stuff on top of your food because you let it just sit in your refrigerator too long, right? If you're not willing to make those adjustments, the question becomes, how can we be one, right? A scripture tie-in is this: can two walk together unless they be agreed? That's Amos 3:3, right? God honors the covenant, and relationships require clarity, right? So you can't walk in unity if y'all haven't agreed on the direction. And I love where I am in life because I find myself in situations where me and my wife right now, we are actively putting ourselves in places where it's time to blend. It's time to become a unit. It's time to become one. The scriptures do say two fleshes, and the two shall become one flesh, right? So what does that look like? What does that mean? You have to weigh and understand your strengths. I have to weigh and understand my strengths. I have to look at my attachments and see what they do, and see what attachments I have achieved and attachments you have achieved, to see if they are counterproductive or they do the same thing, right? So like if I have now watch this. Watch this, right? Check it out. So I'm pulling out my little prop gun, right? You see this back part? This back part is called a stock. A stock, right? This is another form of stability on a gun. And if we both have stocks and your stability is saying this, or my stability is saying that, we gotta adjust. We gotta adjust, and we might have to disconnect and take a part off of mine and take a part off of yours and put them together and make sure they're doing what they're supposed to do, right? You feel me? That's real. That's real. Now I got some questions for you, right? Who has access in your life with no agreement in place? Oh my God. Who has access in your life with no agreement in place? And once again, honestly, if I'm being real with you, I can guarantee you that's a lot of people in your life. Right? Are you mad at a person for not showing up, but never explain what showing up meant? Are you mad at a person for not showing up, but never showed them what showing up meant? Are you holding someone accountable for a contract they never even signed? Because you have your own personal viewpoints of this relationship, and they do too, but you all have never had that conversation. I don't care if you've been married for 60 years. I don't care if you've been friends for 10. I don't care if you've been around for 13. Have you made that time to make that happen? Or are you assuming, based upon the longevity or the inheritance, that this should be what it is? It's not fair to you, nor is it fair to them. That's facts, man. That's facts. It's time to master attachments, right? It's time to master attachments. We said it earlier. Every battle does not need the same attachments. You're not losing the battle because you're weak. You're losing because your attachments don't match the mission, right? In Call of Duty, attachments are given to you as an upper hand. But in life, we treat every situation like it's the same map, same enemy, same weapon. And that ain't true. Just because something worked before doesn't mean it's going to be effective and still work now. Come on. I'm a prime example. I'm a living witness to that. Unfortunately, I'm in a situation right now, fam, where my system that I usually use for my life was working, and now it's not. So I had to do something different. I had to make some adjustments, right? And the crazy part about it is the way I prepped, because I was doing something new. My preparation took a little bit longer, so the thing that I knew, the thing that did not change, that wasn't supposed to change, changed. So now I'm in a situation. Now I'm like, dang. It's 12:10. It's, matter of fact, it's 12:01. It's 12:02. It's 12:06. I gotta go live. What's happening? What's gonna happen? Things changed. Things adjusted. The reality is, I'm talking to you from a different location altogether. I I don't know if that has anything to do with it. I don't really know what caused the problem. But after the live, I'm gonna have to figure it out, right? Things change, fam. Things change. Let's get back into Call of Duty. You feel me? I was talking about stock, right? I was talking about stock. That's the back part of the gun. That's all about control, right? Sometimes on the actual gun itself, on top of a scope, there might be like a laser on the side, right? And that laser, that scope, that's all about awareness, right? That's all about awareness, right? There is something called a muzzle, right? Or a muzzle. So that's the last piece that you put on the gun. So there could be a suppressor on it, which silences the actual gun that's being shot. So at that point, when you're silencing a gun that needs to be shot, that means you're trying to be a little bit more quieter about sneaking up on somebody, right? On in the game, right? So then there's a magazine, right? Magazine, right? This is a magazine, right? This would be considered the magazine. You could take this off and load it up, right? You can take it off and load it up. So that would be the magazine, right? And that's all about endurance. You feel me? And it really is, because it allows you to understand in a gunfight how many bullets I need to be prepared to not only finish off my opponent, but be ready to go again, or know when to reload, right? Then you have the actual barrel of the gun, right? The barrel. This whole entire thing is a barrel. So this part is the attachment, but this whole entire thing, that is the barrel of the gun, right? So if sometimes they can be smaller, sometimes they can be longer, and that increases the range, right? And then you know, in certain guns, right, this part, there's like extra attachments, right? Sometimes it could be like a steel a tacky tape, right, that allows you to have a tighter grip. And if you pay attention to this, let me see if I can get it up on you. Let me see. Actually, let's go here. Boom. Look at that. Look at that, right? This, let me see if I can, how close can I get it? Actually, let's see if I can use this, right? This, right? This part would be considered like a form of a grip, right? So with that being the case, once again, that is a form of stability, right? The scope, along with the laser, that's considered vision, right? So in life, attachments represents the coping strategies, the boundaries, the habits, and the people you carry with you into battle. Say it ain't so, Joe. The people you carry with you in battle, right? Who you carrying with you in the battle? Who coming with you? Who coming with you, fam? That's who coming with you, right? In Call of Duty, you don't randomly throw on gear. You customize it based upon the map, the enemy, the role, the objective, right? That's why you have so many custom classes, right? I remember when I was a kid, I had a game called GoldenEye 007. And in GoldenEye 007, I only had two options. I had whatever gun I had. I had a primary and actually I just had two guns. It wasn't even a primary or secondary. I just had two guns, and that's the only option I got. Right? I would have to put one gun down to pick one up. Right? So there wasn't as many options as I had then as I have now. When I play Call of Duty, I got might have 6 to 12 different custom loadouts. So that allows me to be strategic about how I enter the game based upon what the game is asking for or how I want to play. You feel me? In life, we forget to do that. We keep using a long range attachment in close range combat. Imagine if we're face to face, right? Imagine if we're face to face and you're looking at me and you have to do this, right? You got to do this just to finally shoot me. And then imagine if you got to do that, but I'm sitting here, boom, you're done. You're cooked, right? So it's just understanding what kind of battle is it, right? And I like this conversation because it's opening up you to have the creativity, to have the kind of conversations that you need to have with yourself and your team, right? Your team being the person you're in relationship with, your team being your brother, your team being your schoolmate, your team being your spouse, your team being anybody, right? So what kind of strategy needs to be built? And the crazy part about it is it might take additional time initially in your mind because you've never actually thought about it, or you want to keep it moving. But I can guarantee you, if you take the time to figure this out, man, fam, let me tell you, if you take the time to figure this out, I can guarantee you situations that you find yourself in, you won't be in. If you take the time to understand, all right, you work X amount of hours and I work X amount of hours, and when you get home, you thinking about this, and when I get home, I'm thinking about this. So how do we put ourselves in the best situation to make sure we all still good and the flow is still flowing? And if I got that long scope vision and I could be able to see that from down the line, at that point, I'm not on the front lines. Because I'm in the back making sure everything is good. I'm in the back making sure everything is straight. You feel me? That's better for everyone. You follow me? So that's the kind of time that we gotta find ourselves in. You know what I'm saying? Like we gotta make sure that we're understanding that this emotional war, this is spiritual warfare, right? And it's not always against a physical person. It's always spiritual, right? I'm not fighting. I'm not physically fighting you even when I'm fighting you. It's a mental battle. It's a battle of spirit and will and heart. I'm not fighting you. You could be a giant. It don't matter. If I focus on the outermost parts of you, I'll lose every time. I'll lose every time. You know what I'm saying? I'll lose every time. Every new season requires a new setup. Every new season requires a new setup. You might need more vision in this season, or more silence to move wisely, or more support, grip, because the battle is heavy. The enemy adjusts every season. Why don't you? The enemy adjusts every season, fam. Why don't you? That's a question, fam. Like, why don't you? Right? This is a scripture that I used in one of my songs years ago, called "Get Ready for War," Ephesians 6:11. Right? It says, "Put on the whole armor." Right? And then when we think this is our loadout, this is how we adjust. This is how we put on our loadout. This is how we understand. These are our attachments. These are actually our attachments, right? The helmet of salvation, the sword of spirit, right? The shield of faith, right? The breastplate of righteousness, your feet shod with the preparation of gospel of peace, the sword of the spirit, which is the word of God. You feel me? Like these are different attachments that you put on you. You are the weapon. You are the weapon. A sword isn't a weapon until it's in your hand. It don't do nothing. It can't even activate until it's in your hand. So what you have to understand is this ain't even the weapon. These ain't even the weapons. These ain't even the weapons. This is the heart is, right? The person controlling everything. That's the weapon, fam. I said that in the beginning. That's the weapon. So what attachments are you still using that no longer fit your fight? What attachments are you still using that no longer fit your fight? Are you trying to win a spiritual warfare with emotional attachments? Oh my God. Guilty as charged. I was literally in a situation earlier, y'all, where um I was in a situation just yesterday where I am learning how to cancel out uh some of my previous weaknesses, right? That consume me. You feel me? And I've been able to do it, but I realized something else just slipped right in. Something else just slipped right in, and now I'm stuck on the screens. I'm stuck on social media, and I can't do work. Like for real. So the attachment that I needed to actually war off and win against my previous stronghold, the new stronghold requires a different approach. It requires a different effect. This is the next season of my life. I can't keep operating in the same level of impatience that got me to the stronghold that was whooping me earlier. I got to do something different. I got to do something different. What attachments are you still using that no longer fits your fight, right? Are you trying to win spiritual warfare with emotional attachments? Have you stopped to ask God what loadout you need for this season? God, what loadout do I need? Where do I need to increase my focus? How do I need to tap in to this? What scripture do I need to focus on today, for this moment? These are real questions, y'all. These are real questions. These are real moments, man. And we got to put ourselves in situations where we're winning. We're taking over, and we're doing the thing. Now listen, y'all. I apologize for the delay. I apologize for being late to come on. I will continue to get better. I will continue to, you know, just turn up. Just turn up and just continue to grow, continue to take things to the next level. Listen, y'all, I want you all to be blessed. I want you all to understand that this battle is not with people. This battle is in the mind. This battle is in having emotional stability. This battle is being able to stop blaming others or allowing your lack of readiness to be the blame. It's not about that. That's not how we rocking no more. That's not how we clocking. Like, nah. You gotta be strategic. You gotta be smart about it, right? If this Call of Duty reference thing didn't cut it for you, find something that makes sense for you. The intricacies of mastery. The intricacies of mastery is what it's all about, right? It's not about being a copycat. It's about understanding what the greats did to be great, and mimic their practices, mimic their tactics, mimic the systems that they use to be great. Don't be them. There's a difference. The reason why my 4-year-old always comes to me after Isaiah says something to him is because Isaiah is trying to be like me and not realizing you're supposed to be operating how you're supposed to be operating, taking the practicalities, the practical approach that I take with you when I'm talking and I'm trying to make it connect. You do the same with him. You're trying to make him clean up the room. Bring Sonic. Put Sonic in the conversation. Put Blippi in the conversation, and watch something happen. You wanna excite creativity. You wanna incite. God made us creatives for a reason. We need to be as creative as we possibly can. Do not get stale. Do not keep watching that rerun over and over again if you're not gaining anything new. Because your humor triggers are going to remain the same. And you'll never explore or experience a greater laughter. I love y'all, man. This Pop Gospel Speaks. It's Tim Young. Be blessed. Let's get it. I'll see y'all next week.